Hello.
Hello,
Andrea.
can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good. Did you see my message on Slack, Andrea?
Oh,
Half an hour ago,
no,
or less maybe.
no, sorry, I missed that.
You can read it before everyone else joins, maybe.
I'll see it now. Oh, sad news.
Yeah, but I think it's anyway the most honest thing. I mean, I haven't been too active lately, and that's, I mean, one of those reasons is because other priorities are poking me all the time. So I think this is the most honest thing to do anyway. But I keep my interest, of course, and I hope I can join many meetings. But I shouldn't be expected to drive a lot of things. Anyway, I saw a comment from Ben on, sorry, yeah, let's say.
No, as I said, it's sad news, but I hope you'll be able to continue to join us nonetheless.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I expect Ben to join, I think. Anyway, he seems to be working already today. He sent a message on Slack, a comment on the post I did, is it 2 weeks ago or something? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. About the versioning thing. So I would expect him to join. You're muted now.
Sorry. I was just saying I tried to ping him. But he doesn't seem to be online on Slack now. Oh yes, no, yes. He won't be able to join today.
Oh, okay. It's unfortunate. All right.
Okay. So let me see.
Let's see what we can sort out in a way then.
So the only thing I put on the agenda. Oh, that's Brett joining today. That's good.
Yeah.
Hi, Brett. Welcome.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good.
Right. So we were just about to get started. I was saying the other thing I had on the agenda for today was just finalize the discussion for the to be considered items we had last time, Emil. I guess we were looking for input from Ben, but since he's not here today, I don't know. What do we want to do with that?
Maybe we can just reflect a bit on the versioning anyway. We can ask for Brett's opinion maybe on the versioning thing there. We haven't got massive replies on my post 2 weeks ago. except for the one from Ben just half an hour ago. So
Thank you.
yeah, so there probably is still confusion about the event versioning versus the spec versioning.
Okay.
I think, or I don't know. Brett, I don't know what your take is on it. Do you feel it's clear enough how versions are handled in CDEvents, or is it a bit confusing? Could we clarify it?
I need to go back through it. Vacation's killing me. Which I haven't even been on vacation yet, but we haven't been meeting, so I've been out of it.
Yeah.
What's today? The 9th? Today's the 9th. So I'm trying to get the meeting minutes up.
Oh,
You know, it's been long enough since you left, got in, that you got logged out of Hack MD.
right.
I put a link on the chat.
So has anybody said anything about the versioning? Or has it
I
been
made a
pretty
post
quiet?
on Slack, and the only comment we got on Slack was from Ben now, half an hour ago. So we were considering to close this without any action. But now Ben posted a comment that reveals that we might anyway need to clarify something.
Look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to rename anything, but maybe we should at least make it even clearer in our documentation.
Yeah. Maybe just check with Ben if he has seen this. Because I think we do explain here why we have versions the way that they are.
This is issue 112, right?
Yes, 112, yeah.
So that's not what I meant. Okay. Yeah, to give you some more context, maybe, Brett. So this is an issue that Matthias opened last year, and then it sat there for a long time, I guess, with not much progress. And the issue is about possible confusion about the different versions that we have in the specification. So we have a specification version, and we have also version for individual events. And also if you transport a CD event on top of a cloud event itself, it has its own spec version. But yeah, it's a different version because it's a different layer. But yeah.
Yeah, we use the cloud event in the. I showed some examples of the cloud event in EPR, and yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The two versions, are they in completely different sections? So we got the spec version, and then we've got the others in the type context, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
those are two completely separate sections.
Hmm.
You know.
Mm.
So what I always struggle with, right, when I'm doing this type of stuff is being overly wordy or stuttering. Those two things kind of drive me nuts. And so, like, I think it's perfectly fine to use version in two different sections, right? One's the version for that section and one's the version for the other section. But Cloud Event did go out of their way to put spec version in, but they don't have separate sections like you guys do. They've just got the one, root section. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean the Cloud Events they have their spec version, which is part of their context, and then CDEvent has its own spec version in their context, and plus we have event specific version. So I think the Cloud Events version and the CDEvents spec version, they're completely separated. I don't see any problem in having CDEvents version and Cloud Events version. It's like a stack of protocols. We also have the TCP version and the HTTP version and so forth and so forth.
I definitely don't have a problem with the Cloud Event versus CDEvent version. It's just the question is we've used the word version twice in two different sections, and is that confusing? And I don't think it is, but
okay.
I also deal with this type of data like all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like my job almost, is all this data.
Yeah, so what we were discussing with ML last week is also that most people will interact with CDEvents through some SDKs. And SDKs in most cases will take care of the versions for the developer who's trying to send or consume an event. And so only in cases where someone wants to craft an event by hand, then they have to go and basically look at the reference for the specification to understand how they should put the data into the different versions. And for those cases, we need to make sure that the documentation is clear enough. Oh, sorry, Emil.
I was just or if someone would like troubleshoot a raw event on the bus or in the database somewhere or something, then of course they could hopefully use the SDK to parse it. But anyway, there could be occasions when you look at raw event data and then then you just need to understand back, I guess.
I could see where changing the value from version to spec version would make it clearer.
Yeah, I mean that's what CDEvents call it on like a header level or envelope layer.
Yeah,
and if we do the similar thing for us, then it's the complete spec is the spec version, and then each individual thing has its own like individual thing. So
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I care enough one way or the other. I think it's fine.
yeah.
I mean, I hate to be indifferent like that for you, but it's.
No.
I don't. One way or the other. Let's just pick one and go that route. I mean,
I think looking in the mirror or in the rear mirror, I think we should have called it spec version from the beginning. That would have made it easier, because what adds to the complexity now is if we do this change now, it will be a non-backwards compatible change, and the SDKs might suffer a bit from that. So that's what.
I mean, we'll have to do it in a new version, right? So.
Oh yeah, a new spec version.
Yeah. And didn't we just release a new version? Did you guys release a new one?
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, we released a few months ago.
Yeah. Okay. Just.
But the new one's not out yet.
No, we don't have a. So the last one we did is at 0.4.
Yeah,
and
the
we
5.
started working. Yeah.
5's not out yet.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could break it in 5, but then we need to go make sure the SDKs know.
Yeah, the good thing is that we have other non-backwards compatible changes in 5 now. So that's a reason to do it now. If we should do it sometime, we should do it now and not later.
Yeah, we should. All right. So then my official Ben vote is, and this is the one where Ben votes and then he gets wishy-washy later. Is that we change it to spec version. I think that'd be the best thing to do, and do it now. So if you've got breaking changes already in 5, let's just add more breaking changes. The longer we wait, the worse it gets.
I'm kind of +1 on that as well. I don't know, Andrea, you might see big problems in the SDKs that I don't really see at the moment, but is this a worse of a change than others, or?
I wouldn't say so. So it's not a more complex change than others breaking change probably. But
I guess the hard thing is that I guess in the SDKs when you try to parse an event, you first check what version of the event is this, so you know how to parse it.
Yeah.
And to be able to retrieve the version initially, then you would have 2 different ways to retrieve that initial version. That is spec version.
Yeah.
Maybe we mostly in the SDKs, I don't know, do you actually look at the spec version or the individual event version? Mostly. When you the spec.
Try to remember, but I think we first look at the spec version because the maybe different way to parse. So that there are different objects that you, at least on the Go side, there are different objects that I use to parse even the context, because in 0.4, for instance, we added like links and a number of things. And so the first thing you need to do is to check the spec version.
So there could be an extra if statement there then somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you would need to look, and if version is not there and the prospect version or the other way around, basically.
Yeah, but I think eventually when we reach say 1.0, we wouldn't need to have that if else statement anymore, because then we don't need to support old 0. something versions, right?
Yeah,
not super active.
That's fair.
So it's quite a short-lived extra code, hopefully. So is spec version 1 word, or is it 2 words with an underscore in between?
Make it look like cloud events. I think it's 1 word in cloud events. Don't get upset with me, because I had that answer so quick.
I think as well that is 1 word there.
The Python coder in me wants the underscore, but the dude who works on this data all the time doesn't want to have to guess which type of what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And cloud events decided that this is what we're going to do, and then this is what we're going to do.
Fair enough.
also because I think we use spec version in EPR, so as one word for the same reason I just told you guys to do it.
So if you're if you're working with cloud events, there's no risk for confusion then that there are two different spec versions on different levels now.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about that. I don't think.
Good. I guess you separate it anyway, so you first check the cloud events header and then you look into the
I'm just thinking to be like, I can reuse the code that I used to check the cloud event spec version, the EPR spec version, and your spec version. It's all just one function, and I just call it on the different sections. And
I guess there is a risk that the formats might diverge a bit eventually, right? I mean, I don't know if you should use the same method for it, really. Is that good?
I don't know. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would do that to begin with, but when we went to prod, it would get way serious.
Okay.
I was just,
it's assembler anyway, so it should be the same, hopefully. But yeah, we never know.
Yeah, it should be good as long as it's Semver.
Okay, so then I will remove the label to be considered, and this is already in 0.5. And yeah, I guess I can take care of this in the spec repo to begin with. Okay. Thanks for the feedback, everyone. I guess the other two.
Didn't we put some comments on those last time? At least one of them.
So for this one, we said there doesn't seem to be strong enough motivation to justify the change at this point. We got no feedback from Ben. I don't know if you have any comments on this, Brett, on your side, just to give you a short summary. Currently in the SCM side of the events, we have events about a subject called change. And there was an old issue about renaming those to change proposal with a justification that a change is not a change that happened until it's actually merged or approved. And we discussed this the last time with Emil, and yeah, our conclusion was that unless there doesn't seem to be enough motivation to justify this change now, and the current terminology should be clear enough. Do you have an opinion on this at all, Brett? Anything that you would like to add?
No, this is another one where it's like, yeah, it's until the change is accepted, it didn't happen, right? So, I mean, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me enough to. This one bothers me even less than the one we just talked about.
Okay, so it's similar to, I guess, what we felt about it. Okay, thanks for the feedback. The last one, this was a proposal by Emil. Currently, we have in our CDEvents, we have a subject with certain fields. Like in the case of this is a task run. You have a task name, URL, pipeline run, outcome, and errors. And some of the fields are common to all the cases where a subject is used, but some other are more specific to the predicate. So there was a proposal by email to split this and having like a subject and then predicate fields separated in the JSON. I hope I introduced this properly.
Yeah. So the subject field will be the same for all events on that same subject. For this taskgram, for example, any predicate on a taskgram would have the same type subject field, but then the predicate fields differ from event type to event type. And I guess that would make it maybe a bit easier in the SDKs to parse it, because then you know this is like fixed information for this category of events of some kind. You can make it more hierarchical in the SDK maybe somehow. And then the predicate only contains then the things that differ between those events. But yeah, I think it's maybe a bit easier to read the event by hand, so to say, this way. And it makes it clearer to see what properties are actually changeable or not between the predicates. But it works as it is today as well, so I shouldn't say that it needs to be this way.
So in here, but in the way it currently works, I would look for subject and then look for content, and then in content, I would look for the outcome.
Yeah, so in the outcome in content is the mix of fields related to the subject and fields related specifically to the predicate.
Right.
You can't difference there if it's not.
Yeah.
So.
In the bottom, I would get the subject, say, okay, this is this type of subject, so it goes in this pile, and this particular run failed. I grab the predicate and say the outcome failure. Interesting. I would say that, like, just looking at it for the first time, it's considerably clearer what happened. Right? The thing that and here's the one that I was like, why would it not say results? But
yeah, that's another question. That's not for this station.
Instead of predicate. So interesting.
You mean, sorry, you want to have it result or no? What do you say?
Yeah, instead of the word being predicate, the word could be result. I would never use the word predicate, but I'm an American and I'm undereducated. So I'm not one of you smart EU guys. You know, and I'm especially not one of you guys from up, nearer to where the top of the planet is. So
oh please. No, but I mean subject is there because that's the subject of, the
subject
thing,
makes complete sense.
Yeah, that you do something on, and then what you do is the predicate or the verb, I guess you can call it as well. So something that happens on that subject. I mean, result.
So now that you've said it like that, now the predicate makes sense because it's a verb, not a noun. Okay.
Exactly. So if it would have been noun instead of subject, it would have been verb instead of predicate. So there are different classifications of those words, right?
Yep.
I don't know what it's called in English. Those when you use noun and verb versus when you use subject and predicate. There are different ways of classifying the words in the language, right?
I failed freshman English 3 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I couldn't answer that for you if you wanted me to. And I wouldn't trust what Google came back with either. So, but no, I'm just going off of my gut. It reads better. It's obvious to me what happened. Yeah, like the robots don't care, right? But from a human looking at it, way easier to troubleshoot this.
And I think also when we document things in our documentation, it makes it a bit clearer but then we can divide that also clearer in the spec, in our documentation spec, in the markdown.
Yes, definitely.
Which
so
a bit. easier.
My vote would be yes on this one.
And this is obviously a non-backwards compatible change as well, then, so that makes it suitable.
Well, hell,
to
you're
think-
setting everything on fire anyway.
Yeah.
So
Might as well burn.
Pun intended, or how is the bushfire in LA nowadays?
What's that?
I heard it was a strong bushfire in LA.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't. I live on the East Coast. We don't keep up with what happens in
Okay.
California.
But we hear from here, even further east.
Yeah, I know.
But it was huge, like 9,000 hectares or something. What
Yeah.
huge fire.
So I feel like since the pandemic, California's been on fire,
More.
and I think I've gotten numb to it, which is
Mhm.
sad as a human. But yeah,
It's a fire pandemic.
yeah. Now next week I'm going to Iceland, and
Oh.
I'm worried about volcanic eruptions
Yeah,
ruining
yeah.
my vacation.
I look out in the news and see if I see you in some volcano pictures.
There you go.
Yeah.
Some old white guy stuck in a car with a sloshing lava around him.
But that's a nice place. I've been there once. It's great.
Yeah, my wife and I are like, we should have booked Tropical Island, but all right, we're gonna go. We're gonna enjoy ourselves, and then we're gonna go to Mexico in December.
Oh,
So, all right. So, how do I vote on this one to say that I like this one? Just put
Yeah,
approved.
feel free to leave a comment.
I don't know,
So-
Andrea, do you have any other comments now after this discussion? Do you think it's a good thing, or just, I don't know?
I see how it, I mean, it splits, it reads nicely. But I have two concerns. One is, in this case, it's possibly clear what goes on one side and what goes on the other, even though I would argue that the URL might be on the subject side, not on the predicate, but maybe it is on the predicate. But that's where my concern stems from exactly. That people may have different opinion in different cases about what belongs to one side and what belongs to the other side. And that might create confusion. But as long as
yeah, go on.
but yeah, I mean, once it's documented, anyways, it's probably fine. The only other concern is more like a, I guess, tactical thing, that this would be quite a significant change throughout the specification and the SDKs.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think like we have anyone available to do this change. Or at least I would not invest my time in doing this change compared to other changes if I have to choose, because this is a lot of work, and the benefit there, I see the benefit, but I don't think it's big enough to justify the amount of effort. Although if we had like I don't know, some GSOC person or some intern or someone who wanted to take this on and do it, I would not oppose it.
Hackathon, Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but still, it will change both the spec and all the SDKs at the same time, more or less. So it's maybe too big for an Oktoberfest thing. But a comment there about what fields would go where. I guess my thought there is that we should just see what is in the spec today and what is common on all events today and what is not. And I do think when it comes to the URL, it's not there for the task run cancelled, is it? Or which one is it now? Or maybe that's an edge case, but I mean, we don't need to make that hard, I mean, to distinguish. The ones that are common in all events, those should be for the subject, and with those that not are common should be in the predicate part, I think. So I think it'd be quite easy, but I do see the trouble with the SDKs, sure. And this is a bigger change than the version thing we talked about before.
It's also a large amount of work.
For very little benefit.
for human readability, which is a oxymoron when it comes to JSON.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason this makes so much sense to me is I look at JSON all day long. I don't want to, but I do. But if I didn't look at JSON all day long, I'd like, you know, I'm just using the SDK. I don't care.
We should have a YAML
So
fire of the events, so to easily see the events in YAML format instead. That will make it easier.
I can't today. Just not. YAML is. Oh,
it's all over, isn't it?
yeah, it's crawling up on my list of things that I don't like as much as I used to.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, but yeah, YAML and JSON to me are like interchangeable. It doesn't really matter. The readability would still be improved in YAML. But you know, maybe.
No, but I agree. I guess when I wrote this, it was with the I had in mind looking at the events with my own eyes, and not having a machine help me. So I totally see that makes this less important. I mean, the SDK could still have constructs for distinguishing them if it wants to.
This is the type of change that I wouldn't. Like, we don't have to put in 5. Does that make sense? This could be a 6. This could be a 7.
But it is a breaking change, right? Or
oh yeah,
quite
yeah.
So
yeah, the reason. Oh, sorry, I meant.
Go on.
No, I was just saying that the reason we're considering it for 5 is because we want to try and do all breaking changes or as many as possible in this release. Since we are doing some, we want to do as many as possible, and so we can, you know, then aim to produce a stable release afterwards. But yeah, so I guess if we don't do it in 0.5, it's less likely that we would do it in the future. Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can keep it in the queue, and when we get to it, I mean, we decide what to do. As I said, it wouldn't be my top priority in terms of work we do for 0.5.
But is it one of those things we should then add to Hacktoberfest if we want to add things there? Like a last straw, if someone would take it, otherwise we can, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have as much insight into the SDK problem as you guys do either. Like, I don't know how well manned your SDKs are.
Not at all very good, man. Almost as this meeting.
Yeah, I know, Andrea, you said that you guys were generating a bunch of the code, or is that, you know, just some of the code gets generated?
I guess well, a lot of the code gets generated. So there is some base code in all the SDKs, and then we run a generator and create different classes for the different events, more or less. It varies a bit depending on the language.
Right.
But yeah, we do generate the Go one, the Java one, and the Rust one.
Are there other languages that matter? Ben's not here. Never mind.
I mean, we used to have a Python one, but it's not up to date. Other languages that could be interesting. Someone at some point brought up .NET, but I don't think it ever happened. JavaScript is probably a nice one to have for GitHub Actions and other stuff. But again, we don't have anyone contributing that, so.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all of the items to be considered that we had. Yeah. Anything else we want to discuss for today? Did you want to wait for next meeting, Emil, when Ben is joining?
Yeah, I'm just thinking next week we will be in Austria, you and I, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do with the meetings then? Should we have meetings anyway?
I think last time we discussed that we wouldn't be able to facilitate either of us, but we might be able to join, but depending on how the schedule goes with the conference.
Yeah. And I still haven't checked the conference schedule, but I think maybe most of the topics are closed at that time, or presentations are done at this time.
Yeah, might be. Right. Okay. Was there anything particular on your side, Brad, that you wanted to bring up today, or?
No, I have been like, I'm in just like a mess personally. So like with the work, and so I haven't really had time to think about pretty much anything other than what I'm doing at work. And then I got accepted to do an AI talk at DevSecCon 2024, which is something Sneak's putting on. And so they accepted my talk, and I was like, cool. And then they said, oh yeah, by the way, your slides are due in 2 weeks. I was like, oh, what? And they're like, oh, and you're going to record 2 days after your slides are due. So today the slides are due, and I have to record my thing 2 days from now. And I've only given this talk once. And then I had to go change some stuff in it because there's new information since the last time I gave the talk. And just like, whew, you guys could have given me a little bit more runway.
Yeah,
so yeah, that's all I've been
Yeah.
doing. And then on top of that, like, you want, when you give those type of talks and it's not like your daily day-to-day work, right? You want to like fact check yourself. Because you don't want to get out there and say something stupid or something that's not quite right. And so, basically all last week and the next 2 days, I am just heads down in the NIST AI addendum for the SDF and like all of the specs that are out around AI security. Like Google's got one, and anyway, real fun. Dug a hole for myself.
Cool.
Well, the topic itself sounds fun. But
yeah, the thing I wanted to cover is like, everybody always wants to cover, AI generated code and large language models and stuff like that. What I wanted to cover is what are you doing with that grenade in your pipeline? And So that's kind of where I'm taking my angle from, is that if you bring in models in from the outside or train models inside, what do you do with your pipeline? So that's kind of what my angle. Try to be a little different from everybody else's angle. Because I mean, that's really what I care about. I've got a new AI model team that's trying to come up to speed and build models in my pipelines. And I'm like, you're not getting network access to anything, buddy. So anyway, so that's all I got. I don't really have anything. I'll be out next week. I'll be in Iceland. I'll be thinking about you guys.
Likewise.
And then, and then I'll try and be back the week after that. So, yeah.
Are there plans
Try.
for the EPR, by the way? What is the status of the EPR?
VPR. We're trying to hook up.
Events, yeah.
We've been trying to hook up KeyCloak to the back end to get ourselves authentication. But the only other thing, that's the main thing we've been working on off to the side, is putting authentication in. I need to rework the workshop that I wrote, because it's I realized it got redundant in the sections, and it was like you just ended up doing the same things in the same order over in different languages, and it wasn't entertaining enough. So but that I had to put on the back burner because of all the AI talk I've got coming up.
Yeah.
So those are pretty much the only two things. We don't have we didn't get I didn't have anybody reach out to me after the workshop to, come contribute. I think the people that came to that conference were more like dudes who work on AWS stuff or Azure stuff, and don't, just use the Azure tools and the AWS tools and don't write a lot of their own stuff. So anyway, what I want to do is I'll rewrite that workshop. I want to do a shorter version that's more CDEvent focused, make the story in the workshop better, and then maybe try and start socializing it again, see if I can get some traction.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Well,
one
good
thing
luck
that
for
I
your.
realized
Sorry.
about the OpenTelemetry, I think I don't know, maybe we mentioned it last week, but there is a new CI/CD semantic convention board now, or SIG created.
Oh, cool.
Dedicated to CI/CD in OpenTelemetry, and they have a board as well in GitHub. I can paste the links. So I don't know. I feel that we should be there somehow, at least be involved in, so that our thoughts are seen there.
I got a couple of teams interested in this. We're adding OpenTelemetry to our automated testing, and we wanted to add OpenTelemetry to the event-driven system too. So we have some interest in that. Bring it up with some of the guys on the other team and see if they're interested in getting involved.
Yeah. So I see that the CI/CD SIG meet every Thursday, right? Yeah, every Thursday at 6 OPT. Is that 0600 in the morning? Is that, or is it 8
Pacific
PM?
time?
Yeah. Is that just as 0600 PT Pacific time? But is that AM or PM? It must be PM, right?
I don't know.
But that's very, very late for us in Europe.
That's very, very early for us in America. Not for me. I mean, if they meet at 6, it's 9 for me, 9 a.m., which is fine. But
yeah, but it can't be 6 AM, can it?
well, yeah, if it's 6, if it's 6
Right.
p.m. now you're getting into my going to bed times.
Yeah,
You know?
so I don't know. I don't understand which time it is really. But maybe it's Spanish people in the group there, so maybe it's actually AM then, so it's decent time for Spaniards. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Don't know.
there is a new meeting series at least. Andrea, do you have an intention at all to go there, or?
I definitely interested in watching this space. I need to see if I can make the events. It's Thursdays is not probably not ideal.
Mhm.
Got a lot of things on Thursdays, but let me see, 6 a.m. PT. Well, if it is Pacific time, yeah, I would probably this time would probably work for me. So I could try to join and report back.
Mhm.
So it is. If it's on the CNCF calendar, we might be able to see it. So that would be Thursdays, right? So yeah. So I see a CICD semantic convention SIG 2 p.m. for me.
Mm.
So it's must be 6 a.m. Pacific
Yeah.
time. But it's part of the CDEF. No, cannot be. Semantic convention open to everything. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, dudes, I gotta go.
Okay.
I'm gonna I gotta get some stuff done before I run out of time and have to be in meetings all afternoon.
Right. Good luck with your talk.
Talk to, yep, I'll talk to you guys after I get back from Iceland. See you guys.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right. I think we can close the meeting anyways.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. So see you in Vienna anyway next week.
Yeah, see you next week then.
Yeah. Great stuff. Have
Take
a
care.
safe trip there and take care.
You too. Bye.